Hi, I'm Erin. I spent some time thinking about what I would speak to you all about for my call to action speech, as I have many causes that are near and dear to my heart. But I have decided on one that is very special to me and that is an aspect from my life that I miss dearly. Before I get into my request, I'd like to give you a little bit of context as to why this is such an important thing to me. Growing up, my mom worked as a nurse, and I spent a lot of time volunteering at her job at the hospital in St. Albert at the Adult Day program in the summer and on any school holidays. So I spent a lot of time with seniors. My grandparents were like a second set of parents to my brothers and I. We spent a significant amount of time with them, traveling, having sleepovers. For all of our sports events, they were always there. They were there for everything we did. Until the last few years of their lives, they were both in great health, lived alone, and traveled extensively. It wasn't until their final few years that they got quite ill, and my mom and I had to become daily in-home caregivers for them. Working full-time, both of us. My mom runs a farm, I work full-time, have a daughter, and having a full life was a major feat for us to undertake this, but it was their wish to remain in their home as long as possible. And since they had done so much for me personally and my mom as well growing up, we decided it was reasonable to take this on to look after them. My grandmother had dementia and Alzheimer's, so keeping her in a home where she was safe and comfortable and surrounded by familiar things made sense to us and to her. So this was a choice we as a family made. My grandfather was with her 24/7 to make sure she was safe, between my mom and I's visits, being there to cook for them, clean for them, make sure their pills were taken, they were up in the morning and ready for bed at night. When my grandfather passed during an emergency surgery, we were all in shock. We kind of were unsure what to do with ourselves, let alone with my grandmother, who of course wanted to remain at home without understanding that she couldn't be alone. She thought she could take care of herself and was taking care of herself, and didn't realize that my grandfather was there as the person ensuring her safety all day, every day. She refused an in-home caregiver, so we had to make some hard decisions. At this time, we made the difficult decision to move her into an assisted living facility right across the parking lot from where her and my grandfather lived, and where some of their friends had recently moved into, long-standing friends from when they lived on the army base, so people she was familiar with. My mother and I continued with our daily care and visits, so this was just more for her continued safety when we weren't able to be there. It was in my daily visits with my nan that I then met so many wonderful seniors in that facility who just were so lonely, and they were hanging around in the common areas just waiting for someone to come in and visit with them. It made me so sad that so many of these people either had no families to visit them, families that visited really infrequently, or families that had basically forgotten about them once they had moved into these facilities. So my call to action is kind of a threefold call. My first call would be, if you have any family in any of these seniors or care facilities, please encourage them to leave their rooms and spend time in the common areas. Any of the shows or any of the card games or anything that the facility puts on, encourage them to get out and meet the other people in there. There are so many people in there just looking for companionship, who want to just have a nice chat, play a game of cards, and have some time with someone over a cup of tea. It's truly as simple as that. My second call would be is, if you yourself have some spare time and are looking for something great to do and give back, look at volunteering with seniors. It's not the choice that most people look at when they think about volunteering. Most people look at volunteering with the animal shelter or with kids. However, seniors are definitely in need as well. These seniors have so many interesting stories to tell. They have lived through so many incredible things, good and bad, great and sad, in this life that we can all learn from. And they would love to pass down that knowledge to other people. And for them, it can be as simple as sitting there and holding their hands while they chat, taking them out, going for a walk in the gardens, working on a puzzle, doing their nails. And most of the seniors that I've met while in there would just be elated to have someone lavish a little bit of additional attention on them. It was really, really heartbreaking for me to see and hear some of the ladies in there speaking, overhear how they would speak about my grandmother and how many visitors she got and how jealous they were because it wasn't fair that she got so many visitors and they didn't. And to me, it's just so heartbreaking that these people would just be sitting there hoping that somebody would show up that they could chat with. So a little time could go a long way with having these people know that they're not forgotten. On my first night walking through the doors with my grandmother into the new facility, I met a man named Charlie. He welcomed us into the building immediately, and from that night on, my daughter and I would always add about 10 to 15 minutes onto our visits because he would somehow find us. He would have a few stories for us and find a way to sneak in a hug every time. It turned out that Charlie was never married, was an Army brigadier, and had a cat named Maurice that he loved more than anything. He was just looking for someone to share his stories with. My third call would be the one that does cost a little bit of money. At Christmas time, London Drugs does a program called Stocking Stuffers for Seniors. When you walk in the door, you can find gift tags on a Christmas tree by the door that has a simple list of wants. You shop for a list of items on the tag, return the gifts to London Drugs by a specified date, and then they deliver them to seniors at the care facilities participating in the program. Again, some of the items on the list are such simple requests. It's really sad to see that these are considered a gift. For my family, this is part of our Christmas tradition. We go together every year and we choose about 3 people each, and we try to go above and beyond to provide nice gifts and a handwritten card for these seniors so that they feel that somebody does truly care. This past year, things that made the list included toothbrushes, shampoo, and toilet paper. This really doesn't have to be a very expensive way to give back. However, much like the volunteering, especially at Christmas, a lot of people donate to children and don't think about seniors on limited incomes or with no families, stuck in care facilities, and how much these simple gifts could go a long way to making their holidays a little brighter. A major part of my call is just asking you to be intentional with your time, with your family members while visiting, encouraging them and yourself to make connections with people when you have the chance. Just take the time, chat with that older lady at the grocery store, ask the older man at the hardware store for his help or his opinion. You'll most likely learn something and make a friend. It's a running joke with anybody who knows me that if I go out somewhere and I don't come back and start a story with, "So I met an old guy," that I must not be feeling well. So there you have it. That's my call to action. My call to action is to include, value, and respect our elders. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please reach out. Take care, everyone.